everybody. Welcome to the Fumble Live. We are breaking down all the latest sports news for you as usual. But first, make sure you subscribe to our channel, tap the bell for notifications, give this video a thumbs up, and leave a comment below. Now, here's the Fumble Squad. I'm Devin Howard. You can find me on Instagram as @DevinHoward. Chris.
It's your boy Chris. You can find me everywhere at CK2K.
What are you laughing at, Chris? Weirdo.
No, just the Chris always gets me. It's just funny.
Oh, it's your girl Jackie Ray. You can follow me everywhere at JRayFanatic.
And it's your girl Britt Johnson. You can follow me on all social media at I am Britt Johnson. I think this is the first show where we haven't all been blurry to start the show. Get excited.
You may have just jinxed it. So
I was gonna say.
I know, right? Nobody move. Nobody move.
Okay, still.
I'm like trying
We'll see what happens. I'm praying that we all have clear images, clear video throughout the entire live. Let's first get into this news story about your guy Kawhi, Britt. So Kawhi Leonard says that the lack of travel and fans in attendance at games have lessened the meaning of seeds heading into the 2020 NBA playoffs. So the Clippers just secured the number 2 seed in the Western Conference. And after he said, quote, just like tonight we played Denver. We're not traveling there or pushing through that altitude like they're used to playing to at home. Also fans. But the little things like that, you know, just traveling to that different city and trying to establish yourself and see what routine you can make out there. Those are pretty much the difficulties of ball games in the playoffs that aren't in the bubble. Paul George said that the bubble games will likely help lower seeded teams, but that shouldn't take away from the Clippers' confidence. He said, quote, it's a lot of unknowns here, but I'm confident, and I think our group is confident. So Kawhi was kind of downplaying the number 2 seed spot that they just secured, and I found that kind of interesting. So, Britt, I want to ask you, do you agree with Kawhi's statements? Does seeding really not mean as much in the bubble?
I agree with just how the Clippers have been playing. They haven't clearly cared about seeding the whole entire time. They've been caring about trying to get their team the way they want it, getting these younger guys, these third stringer guys time to play, getting their minutes up and stuff like that. So everybody goes into the playoffs confident, not just the starters. So I don't think the Clippers have cared since the beginning. And I think it was very blatant when you just saw, like, you know, big games like against the Blazers when they kept their third string in and not playing like Paul or Kawhi, or not worried about when Patrick Beverley and Lou and Trez were gone. Like, the team, we're good. Like, I don't think they cared at all if they were like second, third, whatever, even dropping down to a 4th seed. I don't think they ever cared. And I think obviously with not traveling and not having to deal with different situations and stuff, I think obviously that's like, maybe the games don't feel as competitive because nobody has that home field or home court advantage in that sense. So I think you lose a little bit of like I got to beat him on his court, and I got to, you kind of miss those little moments. But I think the Clippers didn't really care. They're like, we're going to get into the playoffs. It doesn't matter who we're going to go up against. We're going to go play how we play. And our time now with the seeding games is trying to make sure we go into the playoffs with the best team possible. And that's all of our team members, all 15 guys on our squad. So I think that's just what they've been working on. And I think, and I hope going into the playoffs, it's going to pay off.
Mm-hmm. Well, Chris, I want to ask you, based on kind of what Britt was talking about, not having that home court advantage, what Kawhi said, there being no fans, how much do you think the playoffs will be impacted based on the fact that they don't have those different advantages available to them anymore?
Yeah, I think the fan aspect of it is not going to be impactful at all unless they do, like we were talking about yesterday, like I had mentioned, if with the families and whatnot coming into the bubble, if they do it where only the home teams, guests or whatever can show up, even though it's going to be limited, but they're the only ones that can come through rather than both teams supporters can come through. There's not going to be any type of advantage. I mean, even with the pumped in noise that they got, it's just constant noise. So it's not like it favors one team or the other. And even though they try, to celebrate and boo when people are at the free throw line, it doesn't affect them, as you've been seeing a lot of these guys that have been playing so well in it. So, no, I agree. I think, I'm with Kawhi on this. I think it's really not going to be that much of a favor. And there's just so much to it. Like that Denver game that he talked about, there's more than just the fans that they're going to have to worry about when it comes to playing in Denver, and they don't have that anymore. So, I don't think it's going to be a factor at all. They're trying, but I think this is going to be a really intense playoffs because it's just everyone is just on the same playing field, regardless of the seed.
Mm-hmm. So then, Jackie, I'd like to hear from you. Do you feel Kawhi is downplaying what it means to be a number 2 seed or a number 1 seed too much?
No, I mean, I have to co-sign on what he said and what Britt and Chris said. And I said it in the post-game wrap-up last night that, even watching last night's games was kind of like more like a break because everyone was in the playoffs and it really didn't mean anything. Your seeding at this point just doesn't mean anything. Aside from your logo being on the court, that's really the only difference because it literally means nothing. And, I'm from Denver and we all know that it's a mile high there. So it's harder to breathe there. And when you're in an intense situation, your adrenaline's already pumping, and then you've got those Denver fans in the stands. That is a definite advantage for Denver that they're just not going to get. And same with the Lakers playing here, or the Clippers playing here in LA. They would definitely have that advantage. So I don't even think it's going to matter if you have like just the families of the home team in there because it's not enough people. You know what I mean? They're not gonna create that much effect.
Even with the Jackie Ray fans?
I mean, if there was 10 of me, maybe, but just one, no. So, it's just one of those things that I'm 100% with Kawhi on this one. Because I had said last night that I wanted to see, more plays being run, more get that guy that no one would expect to have the shot, get him in the corner at the buzzer at the end of every quarter, let him get used to taking that shot. Basically use it as practice because it doesn't mean if you're in now, you're just in,
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Yeah, and especially going to the before, obviously teams didn't want to, not have those first 2 games at home and then have to travel and all of that kind of stuff. And then everybody wanted their game 7 to be at home if it got to a game 7 point. But none of that matters because it's like, okay, we're not doing 2-2 and then 1-1-1 as far as our traveling is concerned. And so they don't. I mean, really, it doesn't matter. In whoever you're going to see in whatever, this 2 seeing the 7 or whatever, the 1 seeing the 8, that kind of doesn't matter because as we see now, teams have been stepping up in the bubble, like the Blazers and like the Suns. So if you're playing that 8th seed and it's the Blazers, that's still going to be a difficult thing, especially in the Western Conference. Eastern Conference, they got a little more wiggle room and you want to be a number 1 seed because the 8th seed is definitely not going to be that good. But Western Conference, this is so level. This is probably one of the most level playing fields I've seen, especially in the Western Conference, because everybody's so good. And really, at this point, I don't know who's going to take it. That's how good the Western Conference is now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I feel like we could be in for some a major surprise or a couple major surprises, which makes the playoffs very exciting. Yeah, it's really exciting. Okay, let's get into the second update. There was a record-breaking NFL contract that was just agreed upon. So tight end George Kittle of the 49ers is known as one of the best defensive playmakers, and now he's getting paid like one too. His agent confirmed that he agreed to a 5-year, $75 million contract. He'll also receive an $18 million signing bonus and $30 million guaranteed at signing. There are total guarantees of $40 million. He was previously set to receive $2.1 million in base salary in 2020, and he earned $645,000 in base salary in 2019. And he signed that contract after the 49ers selected him in the 5th round of the 2017 draft. He was significantly underpaid given his production, so now he's gotten a big pay bump. So Jackie, I want to ask you, do you feel that he is worth this kind of money?
Absolutely. I think the 49ers should be excited that they, nailed him down and because he's definitely worth the money. He's ridiculous. I think he had an injury that kind of sidelined him for 2 weeks. But other than that, his numbers would have been astronomical. He had something like over 1,000 receiving yards, 5 touchdowns, something like that. I think we all knew he was going to get the money. I think that the 49ers need to be excited that he got the money because now he's Garoppolo's favorite target. And he, to me, is I think we started having this conversation years ago with what is the tight end position? Because, we expect it to be very distinct, running back, tight end, wide receiver. And he is kind of all encompassing, you know what I mean? Yeah. So I think it's a beautiful thing that he got this this money. It's one of those things though where it's like in 5 years, I just want to know like what are we going to be offering, these people as money, because we're definitely the salaries are going higher and higher. But yeah, I think it needs to, it needs to be looked at as far as like, what are you going to pay other people? But as far as did he deserve it? Yeah, I think between him and Kelsey, I think on NBA and NBA or NFL and CBS, they have Kelsey higher ranked, which I get that. But I think, I don't know, I would put him right up there because he's just such an asset all around.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's actually something I was thinking about too, and it leads me into my question for Chris. Do you think more tight ends should demand bigger paychecks like that?
Well, there more tight ends aren't like those two names that Jackie just said, because
Right.
a lot of them are either the blocking type or they are the catching type. And there's probably a short list of guys that you can get a lot out of both. And I feel like dude in Baltimore, God, we keep talking about him. I always forget his name. Oh my God. Lord have mercy. Y'all know what I'm talking about. It was
We know who you're talking about. Yeah.
you know what I'm talking about. I'm sorry if you're watching my boy. I'm sorry. But no, just like,
We're
those
terrible
kind
right
of
now.
guys. Yeah, like those, those security blankets that are able to do everything, it's going to pay. So I feel like, I think it is deserved. I think it's a lot because I feel like they're going to have a lot of people that they're going to be needing to pay here in a few years because they are a young team and a lot of their guys are playing well at all their positions. They got Bosa, they got all kinds of players. But regardless, for right now, I think it was he earned the money, and like I say all the time when it comes to a lot of these players, and it pays to be a security blanket, and that's definitely what George Kittle is for Jimmy Garoppolo, because we know he don't like to throw too far, and if he does, it gets picked off. So George Kittle is that guy who'll catch all those throws and make him look good, and Kittle look good too. So you earn the money, in my opinion.
Britt, I'd love to hear your thoughts on this record-breaking contract, especially with the season still up in the air. Do you feel like teams should consider that before giving players this type of money, or is it important to lock them down regardless of what's going to happen with the upcoming season?
No, because they signed the new CBA. It's going to take place next season. They're going to be signing their new TV contracts next season too. So when you're signing 4 or 5 year deals, you need to make sure you get those done now, honestly, because that money is actually going to continue to keep going up, and especially when they do their new TV deals or whatever, the league's going to have more than enough money to pay these players. So this is just natural that we're seeing the money go up just because we're coming up on the CBA and the new TV agreements. Kittle is obviously, I think, well-deserving because I think he creates opportunities, and that's the number one thing a tight end is supposed to do.
Yeah.
Like, they can be open for catches, but they block, like that is what they're supposed to do. They're supposed to be able to create opportunities for running backs to get through, for receivers to get through, and he does a very good job at that at such a young age. I think I don't think he was underpaid before. I think you just have to earn your stripes. And when you're,
100%.
coming in as a rookie, and especially a tight end position it's a very interchangeable position. There's players coming in and out of that spot all the time. So to have a really good tight end is very hard to come by, because they don't get a lot of looks as some of the other guys do. So for him to be as productive and as meaningful to his team as he was, of course he deserves that type of money. Usually it will be like a receiver or a running back or a line guy that gets those kind of checks because they create those opportunities, but he's been able to do a lot of different things. In the same way we say Christian McCaffrey can be a running back and a receiver and stuff like that. So I think it's great, but I think overall, like, we're going to just see salaries go up every year. Three or four times this season alone, we've already talked about a new record-breaking contract, a new record.
Right.
Every contract is that, and they're just setting the precedent for what future contracts are. I think this is probably an anomaly for the tight end position. I don't think there's going to be a lot of tight ends that get that kind of money, but his is very well deserved.
Yeah,
I think this is one of those things. I don't know if you guys saw that Deion Sanders was getting dragged for his statement where he told all these NFL players, like, the NFL will go on without you. It is a business, and if you are opting out, you might miss opportunities. If I was one of those players opting out right now and I'd see this contract, I'd be like, especially if I'm coming up on a contract year, that you just can't opt out. Even I get it why people are doing it, but Deion is right. No matter how much he was getting dragged for that, the NFL is a business, and it will go on you, and we're seeing that because if they were halting in any way, we wouldn't see these type of going down. So I think this needs to take notice. Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. And I get it. Be safe, do what you got to do, but do what you got to do knowing that you might be opting out of a big contract. So stop being Deion Sanders for comment because he was right.
I didn't even know that.
Mm-hmm. Well, good point, Jackie, and congratulations to George. I mean, that's huge. Let's get into the final need-to-know news story. Stephen A. Smith is still obsessed with NBA players and their sex lives. So this morning he made a case for conjugal visits in the bubble because players are lonely and they need some human interaction. So we've talked about this on the show before, how, they might be or whatever, and Stephen A. Smith is the one who's telling about it on TV. He thinks that the NBA should open up a window of time where players can have one person join them so that they can relieve some of their sexual tension that they might be experiencing and maybe do better in their home. So, let's watch the clip here. I have a short clip to play for you. Leo, if it's ready, let's throw it up there.
You can let somebody come there. You can let a wife or a girlfriend. I would strongly advise the NBA to facilitate that happening before August 30th. Not after. Before. I would strongly advise. Just one, bro. Well, just one. It will go on.
Stephen A., are you advocating?
So Max asked, are you advocating for conjugal visits there? And he certainly is. So Chris, going to you. Do you think that the NBA should allow conjugal visits?
Oh my God. I mean, look, it's like I said, as long as it's not keeping any of the players from getting on the courts and they can figure that out, then by all means, like whatever will help these guys play, cool. If they need to do that, I feel like more so they just need to be smart with who they invite with that one invite that they got. I think that's what it should be. Like let them figure it out that way. See who's really important to them. But look, as long as the players are able to play and there's nothing being spread and nothing going on that way, if they can figure that out, then I can care less. As long as they're on the court and everybody is safe. That's all I care about.
So, Britt, you're shaking your head no. Tell me your thoughts. What do you think about this?
Have we not, over the last week and a half, 2 weeks, talked about we've seen some of the best basketball we've ever seen? They don't need to have sex with anybody. I am so confused. They are playing good, gritty basketball. I told y'all they're sexually frustrated and they're taking it out on the court. And I know you don't.
Danny Green needs somebody.
I'm just saying, there's
Danny
some players
Green
that are
somebody.
not looking the same. Like,
Damian Lillard's fine. Freaking Devin Booker's fine. So if you can't handle it on your own, as far as your baby hand or something, then that's your own problem. But the guys that I want to be fine are okay without getting some booty right now. So I'm good. Let's just leave it. And it's what's today? It's August 18th or August 13th. 2 weeks. He's talking about they can't wait 2 more weeks. I'm sorry. That is just like Stephen A. Maybe he's such a horn dog he can't go one night without getting some booty, but I think the players.
I guarantee he has gone way longer than one night. This is Stephen A. we're talking about. He is annoying as hell. Wow. He has gone way longer than one night. Let's not play games.
Yeah, you just said Stephen A. ain't getting none.
Give any booty, I at least put these players to get some booty. Maybe that's Stephen A's thing. I don't know, but I think the players are playing well without it. I've seen some great basketball, some heated altercations, even some little things like even yesterday with Chris Paul and Jimmy Butler and stuff. Like I'm loving every bit of it. Like just
all the frustration.
I agree, but I'm just gonna vote. If we can get somebody in there for Danny Green, though, because he doesn't even know where the basket is at. So maybe if he can find one hole, he can find the other one. I need Danny Green to get somebody in there immediately.
I am done.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Maybe find another. No.
Look, Danny Green is struggling, and I need him to not struggle by any means necessary.
Done that. Like, I've been Danny's game sometimes where he's literally scored like 2 points or no points. Like he has
so
like, and then he'll go into a playoff.
Let him score at night, and then maybe he'll come to the game and score there too.
Maybe that's what it was.
Get Danny Green a girl.
That's how he recorded. I don't know.
On that note, let's go into the post up, you guys. Chris.
Oh my goodness! What a way to go in the post up with your board. Chris, is this quarantine edition? And yeah, that conversation is hilarious. This man Stephen A just will not let it go. Like Britt said it so perfectly. There's 2 more weeks. Like I'm sure they'll make it. Anyways, that moving on from that, we're going to Kawhi Leonard, who I think his circus malfunctioned a little bit last night because too much emotion was being dealt out. So I think the little robots inside of him were like, shut it down, because there was a moment, and it was it was deserved because I feel like he was fouled. But there was a moment where he was bumped and he thought that he should have got a foul call. So he made sure that the refs heard him the entire way down the court back on defense. So here's Kawhi Leonard trying to get a foul call. Listen to Kawhi. Still going. Whoa! So I don't know if like like Inside Out, the little like stop it. It's not stopping. It's not stopping. So like I don't know what's going on, but no, he got his bump. He should have got his foul. And he was frustrated in a few moments in that game. So yeah, Kawhi, see, he has emotions too, and he was getting frustrated. And he let it out, and he still made the shot too. Kawhi Leonard going Kawhi Leonard. On that note, moving on to this next one, this saga. We have more for it. When I saw this, I'm like, we better be talking about this today, and I'm so glad that we are, because we joked on Monday about Jaylen Brown saying that he sees Donovan Mitchell all over the bubble. It's too much. He's tired of it, and everyone, oh, you're so funny, Jaylen. Well, there's video proof, but I'm starting to believe that Jaylen Brown might actually be the actual suspect in the situation. It's not Donovan Mitchell, okay? Because we have this first video that Jaylen Brown posted of him spotting Donovan Mitchell once again, if we can get that one up.
Hey, man, get out of here. Get out of here.
See, look, the reaction by Mitch, like he's like, yo, that's like, come on, man, why don't put me in that? Because he started off with saying cheese. It could have been something simple as like, hey, yo, say what's up for the gram, and then the minute it started rolling, then he turned it on Donovan Mitchell, like, hey, yo, man, I'm so tired of seeing you. Get out of here. So I don't know, Jaylen Brown looking like he's the guilty one in this situation, but that's not the end of it, because now Donovan Mitchell's out here minding his own damn business, and it looks over a wall and sees creepy little Jaylen Brown peeping on what he's got going on. So now the table's turned a little bit. So here's Donovan Mitchell's point of view right after the fact.
He want to talk about me. Look at him. Creeping ass. Look at you. Look at you, bro. Talk about me fucking. I've seen you 5 times in the span of 30 minutes. Get out of here, bro.
Guilty.
That's hilarious.
Ladies and gentlemen, he's guilty. We believed Jaylen Brown this entire time. We thought it was jokes, but Jaylen Brown, you're the one. You leave Donovan Mitchell alone. Regardless, the whole thing is hilarious. You can tell that they're all having fun with each other, and I think that was great. But it's just funny how that turned around, because I did not see that story end in that way. I thought it was, because Donovan Mitchell seems like that kind of guy that likes to poke fun. I mean, he still is. I'm not saying he's not. But so I was like, yeah, it probably is, Donovan Mitchell messing with Jaylen. But no, Jaylen Brown, you instigating the whole thing, bro. You're guilty. Your fault. Moving on. We got a prediction from an NBA player about what's going on in the NBA Finals. What's that? Is it an NBA player that's not in the bubble right now? Yeah, of course it is. It is Klay Thompson, who after saw that his good teammate, his good friend Draymond Green was doing the whole TV thing, he's like, yo, I want to get on an interview. I want to talk about my opinion about what's going on in the NBA right now. So he went on a podcast and he was asked the question who he thinks is going to win in the NBA Finals and how it'll happen. And here was his answer.
Give me a breakdown of what your thoughts are.
I think it'll be Bucks over Clippers in 7 games. I think that'll be a barn burner of a final.
I think.
Sorry, just the way Klay talks it makes me laugh. So just like, yeah, that'll be a great barn. But like, it's just like, how am I supposed to take you serious? I don't know if you even mean it. But Britt, talk to us. How you feeling about Klay's his prediction? You ain't worried about it. You feel a little bit way about Klay. It's just like, Klay just talking because he ain't playing.
He did say that it was the Clippers in the NBA Finals, not the Lakers. So let's start there. And Game 7, I would be like, I'm happy to just even get to the Western Conference as a Clippers fan, because we have never been out of the second round.
Yes.
And I'm surprised Klay said that, because we all know his dad is a longtime Laker. His dad is a commentator for the Lakers. So I was surprised he didn't just naturally go with the Lakers on that one. So, but Klay, shout out to Klay.
I like that.
He's just saying that. He's saying that because he is trying to. And I see what you're doing, Klay. You're not
Yes,
slick
say it.
or tampering because you are trying to get Giannis to come to the Warriors.
Oh, you're going that
Oh,
route.
come on.
That route. I didn't see that one coming. I don't disagree. Okay, I see the route you. I thought you was going to say. I thought you were going to say that he's just trying to keep the trophy out of the Western Conference if it's not the Warriors winning, but you went the Giannis route. I like that. But okay, Britt Johnson, look at you out here. So Britt Johnson taking the high road as well as feeding the fire to the conspiracy of Giannis coming to the Warriors. I'm all for it. But with what Britt said is that I actually pictured she was going to say that because he did mention the Clippers, not the Lakers. Jackie Ray, you know I got to talk to you for a second. How do you even feel about his prediction altogether with not including your precious Lakers in the finals?
I feel like Klay needed something to do, so I'm not really, he needed somebody to talk to besides his dog, and so he got this opportunity to say something ridiculous, and that's what he said. So if he feels better about his life and now he can go home and play with his dog in peace, so be it. I don't give a damn what this man had to say.
So you're saying, in the words of Shannon Sharp, you're saying his prediction is a bunch of bull jive, is what you're saying. That it don't mean nothing.
Yes.
He's just talking just to talk. Okay.
I'm just glad. I'm glad we saw him in a video talking to a human being because I think him and Rocco was getting a little too close, and so I'm happy for him. Congratulations. Move on.
Oh my goodness. Devin, I need to know because now that we got the fire being fueled over here by Brett talking about Giannis possibly going to the Warriors and Klay was egging that on. How do you feel about that added to our conspiracy? And do you feel a type of way like Jackie about him leaving out the Lakers as well?
I mean, I feel like he's wrong in leaving out the Lakers. And I also think that, yes, he did have an ulterior. I think that he did probably have an ulterior motive in talking about Giannis like that. But like I've said before, it is not going to happen. So, what was that, Chris?
Like you said, you think it's going to be the Lakers at some point, not the Warriors, right?
Exactly, 100%.
I'm just trying to make sure I'm going to keep reminding you because I'm just making sure that you stand on that prediction. I'm getting killed over here about Ben Simmons shooting threes, and now you're not even playing. So I'm making sure that you stay on your word too, okay? Because it's happening to me, Devin. So I just need somebody else to get it. All right, well, moving on. We got conspiracies being fed here on Post Up, and I am all for it. This is not conspiracy, but speaking of opinions, we're going from a Warrior to an ex-Warrior. We're going to Kevin Durant. Now, he was at Cool Kicks off of Melrose over the weekend. I think it was over the weekend or last week. Regardless, doesn't matter. But the video came out of him being spotted by some fans and asking his opinion on who his homie thinks the GOAT is. And KD was baffled by the answer that came out of dude's mouth. Brace yourself, Jackie Ray. Here's this video.
Hey, but hold on. You can't even talk to him. Ask him who the greatest player is of all time. Who you gonna say?
LeBron James, the greatest player, basketball player of all time. That's crazy?
That's crazy. Ask him who the greatest player is of all time.
Let him ask us.
So, yeah, right. Tell him, Brett. Yeah, but at least KD's on point. He got his mask on and doing what he got to do. But anyways, so yeah, called him out. He said, that's crazy. And then proceeded to say, Michael Jordan over LeBron James. Dun, dun, dun. So I'm going to ask the most ESPN question for you, Jackie Ray. Are you talk to me? How you feeling about him siding with Michael Jordan over LeBron James? Now here's how it gets ESPN. Ready, watch this. Do you think that he's casting shade on LeBron James because he is currently playing against him, so he doesn't want to give any credit to one of his peers? Or does he just straight up think that he's better than LeBron James, so he's going to give that credit to Michael Jordan instead of him?
Well, he's not currently playing against anybody, so there's that part.
God, you always ready.
There's that part. And, KD, he's supposed to say that. Anybody who says that, they're supposed to think that if this was asked of Dame, Dame is a little bit more humble and nice.
He would say himself. Nah, Dame would say himself. What you talking about?
Dame would say himself. Yeah, he would say himself. Like, I'm gonna go. What you and that's what he's supposed to say. That's what Dame is supposed to say. Right. Technically, if KD would have pulled down his mask and said, Did you not know that I was KD under this mask? Did you not know I was standing right here? If he would have said that, then I would have co-signed on that. Yeah, but if you don't vote for yourself, who else is gonna vote for you? That's what my mom used to tell me all the time. So if he would have said that, I would have co-signed on it. But it's KD, so it's what it is. But he's not playing right now, so he got to do what he got to do. So
you're not again. Everything you just said was true, but he didn't even do that. He went the Michael Jordan route. You don't feel a type of way about that?
Nah, because Michael Jordan's not the GOAT, so there's no reason to feel a type of way about that.
Okay. All right. Well,
mute her mic.
cut her off.
You can mute my mic. I do the whole show like this.
Okay, we'll put her out too. Put her out.
I ain't got no problems. This is what we got.
Good.
What you say, Britt?
Oh my goodness.
You want no problems? I don't want no damn problems. That's what it is.
Man, LeBron ain't talking like that. LeBron's gonna be like, "No, we Anyways, it's funny that we brought up Damian Lillard because the next one is continued in that saga. Now, I'm not talking about the Damian Lillard, Paul George, Pat Bev. That's all. That's for the books. It's done. But if you guys remember, he quickly went from that one over to Skip Bayless, and then on top of that, put up 61 points, which led to Skip Bayless tweeting out saying, "Oh, good game, Dame." Blah 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 blah. After all of everything we heard Damian Lillard say, pretty much calling him fake, and he wants nothing to do with them. Well, all that being said, Skip Bayless shot his shot. And yes, that is exactly how I'm determined because that is how this tweet looks very, very pitiful and very, very like you trying, you begging at this point, Skip. He came up to Damian Lillard and tweeted this saying, "This is for Damian Lillard. Awaiting your response to my invitation to join Shannon Sharp and me," and see how you had to put Shannon Sharp's name in it so you know you're not just talking to me, you're talking to Shannon. Anyways, the invitation to join Shannon Sharp and me on Undisputed and talk about our private convo, as you called it on Twitter. Exactly what was said and not said, I look forward to it. First of all, there's the confidence at the end. They're talking about I look forward to it as if you think he's actually going to do it. Now, the question was asked by a fan asking him if he was going to go on Undisputed, and he straight up told him, hell no. So I think that this is, you're trying your best. We'll see what happens, but I think this is it's not going to happen, Skip. It's just not going to happen. But I do want it to happen. I gotta be real with you. Here's why I want it to happen. We just talked about it. If Damian Lillard was asked who he thinks the GOAT is, he would say himself. That being said, Damian Lillard is not one that's gonna, sugarcoat anything. So if he goes on that show talking to Skip, he's not gonna hold back and he's gonna say everything he feels to his face the same way he said on Twitter. And I kind of want to see that. So for that reason, I kind of hope that he lifts it and they do have that Zoom meeting and he talks to him. But that's just my personal opinion because I just would love to see Skip get killed on national television by Damian Lillard. But that's just me. But anyways, go ahead. What?
Who's going to have the bleeping job? Does somebody have that job where they just going to bleep out, press the button every time a cuss word is said? Because I feel that person is going to need a raise for this.
I don't think he's KG. I think Dame's going to be smooth about it. He's going to tear him up. And you gonna talk to him? He gonna get him?
He told us to put some respect on his effing name.
Look, man. Look, when you score 60 points in the middle of the game, you don't know where you at. You was on Saturn by that point. I don't know. You're probably right, but regardless, I still want it because we talk about Skip having all of these outlandish statements, and then also too, if he said that they're gonna talk about the things that were and were not true, one of those things that Dame mentioned was the whole LeBron James hate and why he hates on him.
Right.
We can get the answer to that and we can hear him try to backpedal on that on live TV. So for those reasons, I want to see it. Other than that, I don't think it's going to happen. I want to see it just because I want to see Dame put him in his place, but I don't think it's going to happen. But hey, look, Skip, man, keep trying. It don't look great, but I mean, keep trying. We'll see what happens. I mean, he's feeling confident by saying, when we eventually talk, but we'll see what happens with that. Moving on. Now, as a lot of you guys know, I am from New York. When I was young, my mom and I moved from the East Coast over to California, and we lived in Santa Ana, California, which is in Orange County. And as long as I've remembered growing up in Orange County, it is Laker Town just as much as LA is Laker Town, and everywhere you look there was a jersey, there was a flag on a car, everybody's all about Lakers anywhere in Orange County. So I preface that all by saying this because apparently they made a formal vote to officially make August 24th, that is 8/24, Kobe Bryant Day, and it's happening in Orange County, which is cool. I mean, I think that it was going to be an unofficial official day anyways, but Orange County saying no, that is going to be his day. We'll see what kind of stuff happens on August 24th, which is cool. People are, feeling a lot of people are happy about it. Some people feeling their type of way, especially people who were probably born on August 24th. They're probably a little upset about it. Like, come on, man. But regardless, I think it's a cool thing. But now, I got to stir the pot a little bit here because this makes, a lot of people were saying this on Twitter. A lot of people were wondering, how the hell is Orange County going to come to a decision like this before Los Angeles does? So the question here, I'm going to go to you, Britt Johnson. Do you think that it matters whether it was Orange County over LA that came up with the decision with this? Should they have even made it a day? Like, how are you feeling about that argument?
I feel like in Los Angeles, we have a lot of stuff going on. There's a pandemic, there's Black Lives Matter stuff. And honestly, I just think people weren't really thinking about it. I would rather our mayor focus, and everybody loves Kobe here. I think it would unofficially be that day anyway. But I feel like we just have a lot of stuff going on here. Orange County don't care. They don't wear their masks. They don't do anything. They haven't, whatever. So
speak
they're
on it.
worried about Kobe Bryant Day. Which is, yes, I think it's great to have a Kobe Bryant Day, but I think if our mayor came out and just announced a Kobe Bryant, I'm like, don't we have other stuff we got to work on right now? So
and that is, I'm
so
glad. I see, and that is where I was going to pivot this, because as great as this is, like, I love it, but like I said, I don't feel like it needed to happen because like we just said, people were going to celebrate that day regardless. But here's my beef with this. Everything that Britt just said, because this is the same county, and look, I love my friends, went to great schools, it was cool and everything, but this is the same county where they bullied one of the mayors out of Orange County because she was trying to issue a mask, like everyone, a mandatory mask for Orange County. People didn't like that up in their little uppity towns and in Yorba Lindas and Anaheims. They didn't like that, so she got booted out. Next person came in saying, do what you want. So therefore, no mask is being said. Also, when it comes to any type of protest that was going on down there, a lot of them were pooed off, or they were all fought against. And of course, that's not going to be talked about because Orange County, you're expected to, that's just where Orange County is. You expect to see people that are definitely on the other side of that issue. And, so they didn't talk about it. So, of course, this is no shade on Kobe Bryant. I love it. I'm a big fan of it. I think it's going to be great. But for it to be an official thing when there are so many other issues that are going on in Orange County, that this is something that's coming out as public news, just made me just continue to shake my head when it comes to what is going on over there. So I don't mean to rain on this parade because I love it. It's dope. But like we said, even if they didn't make it official, you can't tell me that we would not be celebrating 8/24 with Kobe Bryant, even if it wasn't a day. So I'm not raining on that parade. Cool, good for them. But I mean, that just shows where their minds are at, and it continues to show that. So look, man, I'm so glad you pretty much just threw that. You was like Lonzo Ball and I'm Zion Williams. You just threw that. I was like, all right, finish this one off. I was like, got you. Let's get it. Anyways, moving on to this. This was pretty funny. This was a funny joke. Now, we talked about yesterday. Actually, we talked about a little bit today about the NBA allowing guests to come into the bubble. Family members, of course, they're basically trying to do everything in their power to make it where it's anybody besides side chicks or just IG models that you just met yesterday to come in and spend some time with you. They're trying to do everything in their power to prevent that. And with that being said, this tweet came out yesterday. And it said IG models after seeing long-standing friends, and then this video from Last Dance was clipped onto it, and it's perfect.
I don't know what went into that process. I met the criteria to be selected, but I wasn't.
That's ridiculous.
I love it. Oh, it's so perfect. That fit way too well. I saw that. I started dying. Well done. Good tweet. Good tweet that went in. And on that, I have to one up that meme with another tweet / video that went viral yesterday. I don't know if you guys saw the video of poor little man being chased by his dad that had a big old Nerf gun.
That was awesome.
And it started shooting at him in slow motion. That video was hilarious. My girlfriend said to me, I was crying, laughing. It's great. But I don't know if it was Eric Pascal that did it or somebody else edited. I don't know who it was, but it got the 50 Cent treatment, and it made the video so much better. So without further ado, here's that video right now. It's so funny. This kid was going. Watch it. My man was running for his life. Well, okay, maybe we can't get the music on, but it was. So and you need to watch it. There's the elements to this video are so perfect. The dog not giving a single damn about his boy. You know, the fact that he was running like his sister was gone. I don't even know where she went. I don't know if she was behind the couch. She was gone. But my man, like, it was serious. Like, his face, like, looking like our boys in the hood. Like, it was, oh my God. His hair bouncing up and down. The Nerf bullets flying all over the place. The dad not giving a damn. It was just so good. The music is, oh my gosh. This video was so good.
I saw the Boys in the Hood version where all you heard was
yes.
Ricky! And
Yeah. Oh my God, yo.
Wait. Devin, do you know what we're talking about? When we say Boys in the Hood, do you know? Of course we did. Boys in the Hood. Have you seen Boys in the Hood?
I haven't seen.
Do you know the? She has no idea what we're saying when we say Ricky.
The famous shot.
All right.
Oh
right.
Man, I'm done.
I like it better when we make fun of Chris. Okay, can we go back?
No, enough.
Oh God! A lot of movies. This is a running thing for me. And over the weekend, I had about people be like, "Have you seen this movie? Have you seen this movie?" No, I haven't seen it. Okay, I don't watch.
Leave me alone.
Oh my God! Leave me alone, man.
Okay. On that note, Jackie, tell us what we not gonna do. Yeah.
Ricky. No, I'm just kidding. All right. So look, last night, like I said, I 100% agreed with Kawhi, and I didn't think that the games last night really mattered. I was hoping to see a lot more plays, a lot more, like I said, guys in the corner, getting that random guy that we barely talk about his shot, but that didn't happen. I did see some pettiness. Britt mentioned it earlier. We're going to get into it right now because early in the second quarter of the Heat versus OKC game, Duncan Robinson was 5 for 5 from the field, 4 for 4 from beyond the arc. He was flawless. And then the Heat tweeted this, which is hilarious to me because I would have waited on this one. It says footage of Duncan Robinson missing a shot with an error message. Sorry, this file does not exist, which is funny to me because 2 seconds later, he missed his shot. He had 16 points on the half, but only 19 for the game. And I swear, had they not tweeted this, then perhaps all would have been, well, maybe he got scared because, I don't know, Chris Paul was messing with him a little bit. So let me show you what happened. Let me show you what happened with that. He looks so confused anyway. Look at Chris. And bow. I love that. I'm just going to throw the ball, get the ball out of bounds on you, and we'll hit you really hard. Bow. I love that. But Jimmy Butler on the very, very next play, that is Chris Paul. I love it. He's like, what do I do? Bow. You're just going to have to take this one. But Jimmy Butler on the very next play decided to get Duncan's back and get back at Chris Paul. Take a look at that. And elbow check. Get out of here. Get out of here. Chris does exaggerate, though. He falls to the ground like he just been shot. Ricky! Like he falls to the ground.
Yep.
It's a lot. He's doing a lot. This whole thing is funny to me because Jimmy Butler scored all of 7 points in that game. And the Heat blew a 22-point lead, but Jimmy doesn't care that he threw the ball over. He says, if you come for my shooter, you come for me. Take a look at his post-game interview. If we have it, Leo. Do we have it? I'm going to guess we don't have it. All right, anyway, in the interview, he said he doesn't care.
Paul and Duncan Robinson kind of got into a bit of a scuffle, and then it ended up with Chris chucking let this slide.
Yeah, I'm not going to throw the ball at my teammate like that. So, yeah, I'll get a turnover, get an offensive foul, but we don't do that here. So you mess with one of my guys, especially one of my shooters, then you got to deal with me and everybody else.
So you guys know my personality well enough to know that I'm all for this. I co-sign on every single word he said. My problem is that you're heading into the playoffs. Every turnover matters. Every possession matters. So Chris, does he keep this same energy going into the playoffs? Or if you were his coach, you'd be like, oh, that was cool and everything when it doesn't matter, but you better not once we hit playoffs. What are you telling him?
Nah, I think he's safe. I don't think Eric Spoelstra that guy to tell him don't do that again, Jimmy. Nah, Eric Spoelstra is all about all that smoke. No, he definitely keeps this.
They blew a 22-point lead. They lost by 1 point. Blew a 22-point lead.
Well, the big part of that was because Jimmy Butler only had 7 damn points. I mean, that's a huge part of that as well. But I'm just saying, Jimmy Butler is that guy to have that kind of energy. You're right. He probably should do a little bit more to help the team win on that game for sure. But no, I don't tell him less noise. I tell him, no, keep doing that. And if that's the mentality you go, that's missing in the NBA today. We don't have many dudes that have that mentality anymore in the league, and I'm all about that. And I think it's dope. I don't think Spoelstra's going to tell him not to do that either.
Britt,
you're right. You got to do more.
Yeah,
you don't lose by 1 point because you turned over the ball.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Britt.
Well, and he got an offensive foul because of it. So I'm just like, I don't know, with 1 point. And you guys, their next game is on Friday against the Pacers. They're 4-5. The Heat and the Pacers are 4-5. They actually have a tied record. So this game did matter a lot for their seeding in the Eastern Conference. So I don't know.
But we just talked about it. Regardless, they still gonna play each other because even if they lose, they just go down to 5, and then the Pacers in 4. But like we said, does the seeding matter?
No, I agree that the seeding doesn't matter, but my point is you can't have this mentality that you're just gonna be somebody's hitman going into the playoffs because you turned over the ball and you lost by 1 point. You know what I mean? So having a turnover at that moment. Okay, but I'm saying when it does, he needs to not have this hitman mentality. Is all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Okay. All right. So
fine. It's okay. You know, like I can see him really trying to hurt the guy, but that's Chris Paul. That's really everybody does it. They throw the ball at somebody else so they don't get the they don't get the out on that. So like, come on.
Yeah.
Come on.
Chris was a little extra on both ends on the bow and on the fall, but it's Chris Paul. So all right, let's move. All right. So now let's move on. Britt, just get ready because I'm gonna have to come back to you on this one because we're moving on right now to racist Jerry. You might know him as Jerry Jones. Now, 2017 was not a good year for him because obviously players were kneeling at that time. He told players he didn't care what their opinion was. It was his stage and that they would stand with their toes on the line. Publicly, he said, we cannot in any way give an implication that we tolerate disrespecting the flag. We know that there is a serious debate in this country about those issues, but there is no question in my mind that the NFL and the Dallas Cowboys are going to stand for the flag. So he was getting a little flack about that. And then people were questioning, well, does that automatically mean that Jerry Jones is racist? And then a fan decided, well, let me just add some more sprinkles on this one for you. And he released a video from 2013 where he asked Jerry Jones to do a shout out to his fiance because they were about to get married. And in that video, Jerry Jones said, hey, Jennifer, congratulations on the wedding. Now, you know he's going to be with a black girl tonight, don't you? Just a random, completely out of left field, makes no sense, racist, unnecessary comment. But I think it's important to know that that's how Jerry's mind just works on a spur of the moment. But now he is apparently going to change his mind. Although I do one other thing. He also says he wants fans in the stands when everyone else is talking about no fans. He wants to reduce to 50% because he feels like it's important not only for the fans, but it's important for the country. His best friend, Donald Trump, who shares the same sentiment, is also racist. But anyway, so on a conference call with reporters, Jerry Jones said, quote, everybody understands where I stand with the flag. Everyone also understands where I stand on backing our players. How the hell will we know that? Okay, Jerry, whatever. He also went on to say this, that was then, this is now, we are going to give grace. So it seems that he's a changed man, but it's fake because his comments comes 2 days after the NFL announced that they will not hold any live performances of the national anthem before the game this season. And they also are planning on reducing the presence of military and police honor guards. So when you look at the totality of this situation, not only has Jerry not changed, he's just released this statement to make it seem like, oh, it's a great time to say it because it's a completely irrelevant. I do not believe for a second that Jerry Jones has turned over a new leaf. I actually only believe that people who think that Jerry Jones has changed are going to say that Cowboys actually have a chance of going to Super Bowl this year. So, Britt, do you actually think that Jerry Jones has changed in any way, shape, form, or fashion?
This is a very loaded question, Jackie.
You're welcome, Britt.
Obviously, I'm one to like, I believe people change. I've changed myself in a lot of capacities of things that I used to believe in, compared to things that I believe in now. So, I don't know if I care about if like people change personally. I care about if it's, letting the players, be who they need to be in those moments. I think that's the most important thing. So it's one thing to, condemn players and say they can't do that. And then it's another thing to be like, well, I can have my opinion, you can have your opinion, and I'm letting you like be you. So if it's you're changing in a way where now you're not being a dictator in a situation, then yes, I think he has. I don't know about his personal beliefs. I've met Jerry a couple of times and he's always been nice when I've met him. So I can't say like anything about how he acts. And I know he's always with Mrs. Price, who's everybody, if you're a Cowboys fan, you know who she is. She's a Black lady. She's like one of the most decked out Cowboys fans ever. She travels with the team. She goes to all the games. She's at training camp, and he's always with Mrs. Price all the time. So I don't know. And then again, that's not saying that people can't be racist and then know and hang out with Black people. But I don't know. I don't know if he's like changed as a human being as far as his thoughts process goes towards people. I mean, he's 78, 79 now. He's an old guy, so I don't really think old dogs change that much. But if you change enough to let other people now express their beliefs, then I think that that's moving in the right direction, and that's really all I need from you.
You don't think it's convenient that he says he's changed now that it's not even a factor? Because he certainly didn't say this when it was a possibility that it was a factor.
No, because I think the Cowboys players have like said stuff this whole time, and they've been able to speak up and, talk about different things and be in the videos and stuff of the NFL releasing stuff. So I think that, and the Cowboys released stuff back when the whole Black Lives Matter stuff started, and they were very like pro letting players do what they got to do. So, as far as like the national anthem thing is concerned, nobody knew what was going to happen with the national anthem, and he probably wasn't asked questions about it until now. I don't know.
See, I told you. No, I'm just kidding. Cowboys got a shot to win it all this year, Britt.
Always Super Bowl.
What'd I tell you? All right, Chris, let's get this intro because now it is time for Britt's takes.
Britt's takes.
All right, let's see if we can get through this without getting blurry, because I'm talking about the NCAA and more particularly the Big Ten and the Pac-12. We know last week one canceled, and this week the other one canceled their fall sports, which means obviously no football. With COVID-19 and players from both conferences, I actually remember a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago, I spoke out about the Big Ten and Pac-12. Both of those conferences were the ones that had players that created basically unions saying we want this, that, and the third in order for us to play this season. And then the conferences turned right around and just be like, well, you guys are so worried about playing and whatever, and you guys want us to give you COVID tests every day. Well, guess what? We're just going to cancel your dreams, and you're not going to play this season. So I did think low-key they were slapping those conferences or those players in the face because they were trying to come together and form unions and say, we need this and this in order to play. And I said before in those moments, I was like, the players are actually showing that they want to play and want to have a season because they're like, we want this thing done right. We want to have the right protocols in place so we can have a healthy and safe season. And I think that it kind of rubbed the conferences the wrong way, because now they came out and said that they're canceling it. They didn't try to, agree with the players and say, okay, yeah, these are some good protocols. We can put these in place. They just said, well, forget y'all. We're just going to cancel your season. And this kind of is going to have a train effect that's going to like be bulldozed into next year and the following year after. Obviously, the Pac-12 came out and said that they canceled their season because of the pandemic. Basically, most of the Pac-12 teams, pretty much all of them are on the West Coast, right? New Mexico State, for instance, they're like New Mexico State, the actual team, not New Mexico State, but New Mexico State, the team, they were having a lot of trouble even getting games in to play at home for players to come in from other schools, because New Mexico, the state right now, has a mandate that says if you come to New Mexico, you actually have to quarantine for 14 days. So any teams that, like, say UCLA came in there to play them, or Oregon, or whoever the case is, the team would have to quarantine for 14 days before they could play New Mexico State. So basically games happening in New Mexico State couldn't happen, but the team couldn't also leave, because if they left for an away game, once they returned, they would have to quarantine for 14 days. So because of things like that, and obviously we know a lot of places in California are still hot spots. There's places in Arizona that are hot spots, and those are all part of the Pac-12. So they basically said they spoke to their medical people, and they were just like, there's no way we can have a season just because all of the mandates in the cities and states where our teams reside in. So they used that as the reason why they canceled. The Big Ten said that they canceled because of the pandemic. That was basically their only reasoning. I'm just like, there's been a pandemic this whole time. And like a week before that, y'all basically, like, you guys remember a week before that, Big Ten released their schedule for the season. And then a week later, after their players decided that they wanted to form a union together, now the Big Ten says that they're canceling their season because of the pandemic, as if there hasn't been a pandemic for almost 6 months now. But whatever, they can have that little moment. Both seasons are canceled. Question is, what happens now? So ESPN released a overly early, I hate when they do this. I hate when people ask me, even though Jackie just asked me who's going to win the Super Bowl, because I don't know what the teams are going to look like. But an even earlier prediction than that, ESPN released a 2021 mock NFL draft, which is literally way too early. It's so silly that they did that. But to go off that list, their top 10 players that they expect to get drafted in 2021, 6 of those players are actually either on a team for one of the 2 conferences that had to postpone their season or cancel their season, or they have personally opted out for this 2020 season. 6 of the top 10 players that are supposed to get drafted next year will not be playing a football season this year. Some of those players obviously will be okay because they can just train and stuff this year. We all remember Myles Garrett, who we all know now in the NFL, but he actually did not play for a year in college and he just had to work out before he ended up getting into the draft and then going. So there's situations where you see college players are out for a year just based off either getting kicked out of school, grades for some odd reason, some situations happening where their eligibility gets messed up, whatever. We've seen it very few times, but we have seen it, and then they go off to be in the NFL and be great, right? But a lot of those players had years of film, at least 2 or 3 years of film on them, and then maybe it was just their senior year that they missed out on. Justin Fields is a very important person to talk about in this conversation. I don't know if you guys know him. He is the quarterback for the Ohio State Buckeyes, which is my favorite college football team. His season last year was just remarkable. He played great. I know everybody's talking about Trevor Lawrence and stuff, but Justin Fields is such a great football player. And honestly, last year was his first year starting, so he only has 1 year of film on his book. So he is Ohio State, which is the Big 12. So he is not going to be playing Big 10, sorry. That's wrong in the thing. He's not going to be playing in the what is it called? A season this year. He won't be playing this season because Ohio State is one of the schools that is not going to be playing. So he's missing out on this season. That could dramatically affect his draft stock. I did Brits take a long time ago and talked about all the different schools that basically did, or not schools, all the different players from the number 1 overall pick to the, bottom 5 of the first round, and the millions and millions of dollars just in the first round alone that is differentiated. It's like 25 million difference between who was picked in like the top couple picks to whoever's picked in the bottom of the first round. So it's huge. You're placing in the draft is so crucial for the next 4 years of your life, because most of those guys end up playing. They always say they're working for free at that point. The first years of their season, they are not paid very much money unless you're one of those top picks. And even then it's not, compared to what other guys in the league are getting paid. So this is a huge thing. Another thing for I would say, okay, three for sure that I believe. So 3 other Ohio State players are also projected to be first-round picks. So this is huge that this school alone is not playing. There's several other guys from the Pac-12. There's that other quarterback from, I can't even think of what school. Some like honky donk school, like North Dakota State or something like that. I can't even think of who it is right now. Sorry if you live in North Dakota. I'm sorry, but I actually have never met somebody from North Dakota, so maybe not. But yeah, I can't think of his name off the top of my head. But you guys know who I'm talking about, I think. But he's another quarterback. He's not going to be participating in this season, so it is huge that this isn't happening. So obviously now people are talking about, okay, well, what about an option for spring ball? No. That is the silliest thing I have ever heard of. First of all, that is a scouting nightmare. Do you think these NFL scouts are going to be able to get the players that are still playing this season, plus if they have a spring ball, include those players, plus also do the combine and then do pro days all at the same time in time for selections in April of next year for the 2020 or 2021 NFL draft? No, that is not. Any spring ball that you do is not going to help any player that is trying to get drafted for next season, period. Like the scouts just can't do it all. They really can't do it all. And that is just like overwhelming. And honestly, most of those games are going to go into or past April through that time. So they're going to pass when the draft is supposed to happen anyway. Spring ball is 100% out. I just think that's the dumbest idea you could ever come up with. There's no spring ball. If you don't have a season, you just don't have a season. And then obviously we know all the new guys would be coming in January, a lot of them. So they come in January, all the new signings can come in and start training and whatever with the team. And then you're trying to throw them into the mix. Any guy that's a top player that is supposed to go out into the draft for next year, he is not going to be participating in any spring ball. And really spring ball would just be to benefit those guys. Honestly, there's no reason to have a spring ball, because then if you do, the good guys are not going to be there that are supposed to get drafted. And then the new guys, okay, then now when is their off season for the following season? Because then if you want them to play spring ball and then start training in summertime and then have another season in the fall, that just doesn't make sense. Football is a too intense, impactful sport that like, we can't have non-breaks happening, especially for college football. Right. We will see a rise in concussions and injuries and fatigue and all this kind of stuff, and that's just not okay. Mm-hmm. Spring ball, whatever you guys are thinking, you guys need to cut that out of your thoughts right now. They're not playing football this season. There is just no football for this year. All the players that are now being affected by the cancellation, like the Big Ten and the Pac-12 and stuff like that, they need to now start training. That's what you guys need to do. You guys need to work your butt off. You need to train, get ready for the get your numbers up, because we know even though your film matters a lot, it's those numbers that you do in your combine and your pro day that actually can really catapult you to another level as far as getting drafted. So that's what I feel like. I think these players, honestly, you could actually probably do better by not getting your body beat up this season and just really focusing on honing in on your workouts. Have your agents pay for your trainers right now for you in advance and keep it pushing. Drop out of school, whatever you need to do, get it done, because now is your time to start working out, because there are going to be all those SEC teams and whatever the case is that are actually having a season this year. that you're going to have to be battling against, and you're going to have to do that with no film this year. So, Jackie, I have a question for you. Do you think it was the best decision to cancel, or should the conference have listened to the players' requests in the beginning when they were just talking about we wanted a better protocol?
I think you always should take in consideration what the players are saying. I mean, everything that you said is spot on. These are kids that are literally planning for their future. And if they want to play, but make sure they're safe, then let them play. It seems like a no-brainer. I saw, I think it was Christian Orr in the chat. He said that, canceling was the best thing because you don't want to risk people's lives, to play a game. I agree with that. However, we can't live like this forever. We do have to start thinking what happens when we get to the other side of this. And so I don't know if I thought canceling is the best thing, because we're obviously one day going to get to the other side of this. And I agree with you. I had told some friends of mine, I'm like, that are videographers, I'm like, you need to get your videography skills up, put it out there, start contacting some of these kids, and then just have them run these drills and just tape it all. You know what I mean? And then the NFL is definitely going to have to expand their combine, in my opinion. It can't be the norm. You have to have more kids in there.
Players, more than that, yeah.
Right, it has to be expanded. You have to allow more kids in there. I don't know what the protocol for that looks like, but you definitely have to give more kids an opportunity, because you need to be able to see more people, not only just to give the kids a chance, but for your organization too. You don't want to skip out over people just because you haven't seen them, and then there's that diamond in the rough that you'll never see. So, it's unfortunate, and I think the main thing that is concerning to me is that the kids came together in a way that we all thought was beautiful to let their voices be heard, and then they're just like, no, we don't care. That more than anything is what bothers me, because they did the absolute right thing. They showed themselves to be leaders, not only in this moment, but in the future, because this is what we want people to do. We want them to get together, pool their resources, make a union, and move forward. And they just discredited that completely. And I think that's shameful. That's the biggest part that bothers me about this whole thing.
Yeah. Chris, did you have anything to add? What are your thoughts on possibly doing a spring ball?
Oh no, I agree with you. I think it's dumb. I mean, I feel like some owners, the argument's going to be like, well, we can always bring in another scout to then focus on that, blah blah. But I think it'd be all around just too much to try to handle in such a short window. But just hearing these, and Jackie's last point was another big deal for me too. It's just like exactly what we didn't want to happen, but we also expected, is they just pooed off everything that these players did, coming together the way that they did, and they said, yeah, that's nice, but we're not going to listen. We're going to do what we want to do, and now no games. So my thing is with this is I just worry, because I'm a huge Justin Fields fan. Like you said, a lot of people worried about Trevor Lawrence, and there's a lot of great players that are in this coming draft. It's just worrisome as far as like they'll be fine, but then they might start off the gates come next year when they are drafted to these teams. They might come out the gates and not look like the players that people were expecting them to be. And unfortunately in the NFL, it's no excuses. You know what I mean? It's like next man up. What have you done for me lately? So it's unfortunate for those kids, because they could get they could see some repercussions that way, unfortunately, and it's not even their fault. But I don't know. It's rough, but we'll see what happens, and hopefully this doesn't trickle over to the NFL.
Yeah, and I just hate that the conferences waited so long, because if they would have done it earlier, like when Morehouse decided to do it, then the kids would have had options to transfer and go to a different school at that point, a school that would be having a season. So it's very, it really is a huge slap in the face to the kids, not trying to make a season happen and doing it so late in when they were 2 weeks away from starting regular season. So it's pretty
and just being done. That's it.
It's very NCAA of them, but
yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Britt, thank you so much. And you guys, before we go, there's been some breaking news that just came out while we were live. Kima Siverand from the Seattle Seahawks has been cut for trying to sneak a girl into his hotel room in training camp. So apparently, the details, he was caught on camera sneaking this girl in who was decked out in Seahawks gear, because he thought that would make her look more like a football player who actually had access to the hotel room. What? But she didn't. And now he's been cut. He's off the team.
I literally said this yesterday,
it's that serious.
Yeah.
Cut all the time in the NFL bubbles for sneaking girls in.
Oh God! Wait! But Did you say he tried to make her look like a football player?
Yes.
That's the best linebacker girlfriend is this. Like,
right.
She's either
How deep was her voice?
Or it was a bad idea. It was just a dumb idea in general. But yeah, he decked her out in Seattle Seahawks.
She was a big Megan Thee Stallion girl, huh?
I know. I'm supposed to be here. I just need her deep voice.
Females, get a girl.
What I want to know from you guys, though, is this too harsh a punishment for him, or do you think that this is completely justified?
Hell no.
The NFL has always done this. They always cut. If players try to sneak in girls or whatever the case, they have always been cut, period. Unless you're a top player, then they'll try to do a side-eye for you. If you were just like a bottom feeder player, you cut. It happened to the Cowboys several times. A bunch of teams, like the players, that's been known. You get cut. You get cut. Especially now that the rosters are only 80 players, they got they got a list of 15 guys they're ready to put in that spot.
Yep,
and you gotta cut him for being stupid. You can't, like, if you're gonna try to sneak a girl in, make her look like she's a food service person, and or a delivery person, not football. You gotta Uber Eats. Uber Eats, you know what I'm saying?
Domino's outfit on with a pizza.
Something.
If for those of you watching right now, I'm going to be putting up a video about this shortly, like right after we end this live. So stay tuned for that for more details about all of this. But yeah, I just had to share that with you guys. I needed to hear the panel's reaction to this news. So that's coming up. But until then, we'll be back doing our live show at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time tomorrow. Subscribe, tap the bell, leave a comment below. Wash your hands and be smart about who you try and sneak into your hotel room at training camp. Bye, guys.
And how you do it, idiot.
Yeah, how you do it.
Oh, yeah. Big dummy. That's ridiculous.